The stars above Shira 9 were cold and silent. The moon's surface was covered in white ice as far as the eye could see. Snowflakes drifted slowly through the thin air, landing quietly on top of a broken human shuttle. Inside the shuttle, Tom opened one eye and groaned. His head hurt. Sparks flew from a broken panel above his seat. The crash had happened fast. One moment he was flying supplies to a research station. The next, his ship was falling through a strange magnetic storm. He had managed to slow the descent, but the impact was still rough. He unbuckled himself and stood up carefully. The floor tilted slightly under his boots. The lights flickered. Systems were damaged, but at least the ship hadn't exploded. Tom grabbed his thick coat, his toolkit, and a small emergency heater. He stepped outside into the cold wind. The air stung his face. Temperatures here dropped far below freezing. He needed to find shelter fast or fix the distress beacon. He looked around the icy valley. Mountains surrounded the area like white walls. In the distance, something caught his eye, a strange shape. Half covered in snow, curious, he walked toward it. As he got closer, he realized it wasn't just a rock. It was another crashed ship, but not a human one. Its metal was smooth and curved, glowing faint blue under the snow. It was clearly alien. Tom carefully climbed onto the wreckage and found a small entry hatch. It was slightly open. It was dark and cold. He turned on his wrist light and stepped in. There, slumped against a control panel, was a figure. It was a woman, an alien woman with light blue skin, silver hair, and sharp golden eyes. Her clothes were torn, and her leg was trapped under part of the wall. She was breathing, but barely. Tom's first instinct was to help. "Hey, are you okay?" he asked loudly. The woman opened her eyes and hissed softly. "Stay back, human." Tom blinked. She could speak his language. "You're hurt," he said calmly. "Let me help." She narrowed her eyes. "Shari, do not accept help from outsiders." Tom scratched his head. "All right, but if you stay here, you'll freeze to death." The alien woman said nothing. She tried to move, but winced in pain. Tom moved closer anyway and gently lifted the metal off her leg. She growled, but didn't stop him. Once her leg was free, he offered her his hand. She refused, but slowly stood on her own, leaning against the wall. "I'm Tom," he said, "from Earth." "I am Valari," she replied, "and I am ... disgraced." Didn't know what that meant, but he nodded. "We need to get out of here," he said. "My shuttle's still working. A little... it's warmer there." Bellaray didn't answer right away. Then she gave a small nod. Together, they walked through the snow. Valari limped badly, but she refused help. When they reached Tom's shuttle, she paused outside. "You trust too easily," she said. Tom smiled. "Maybe. Or maybe I just don't want to freeze." Inside the shuttle, it was warmer, but still cold. The heater was barely working. Tom gave Valari a blanket and offered her some dried food. She sniffed it suspiciously, but ate a little. "You're not what I expected from humans," she said after a moment. Tom chuckled. "That's good, I think." Night fell quickly on Shira 9. The wind howled outside. Inside, the small heater gave off a weak warmth, but it wasn't enough. The cold crept into the walls, the floor, even their clothes. Valari sat on one side of the room, arms crossed tightly.
Ow.
Her teeth were starting to chatter. Tom noticed and checked the heater again. It wasn't going to last the night. He looked. At her? She looked back, eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. Then, with a deep breath, she said the words he would never forget. "Too cold. We must share one bed." Tom blinked. What?" Valari spoke firmly. "Jari, do not freeze. We adapt. Close body heat increases survival chance." Tom swallowed hard. Right, of course, survival. He moved over and lay on the small bed, leaving space. Valari joined carefully, her back to him. The bed was barely big enough for one person, let alone two, but they managed. Neither of them spoke for a long time. The sound of the wind outside filled the silence. Eventually, Tom broke the quiet. "So, why were you flying alone?" Valari hesitated, then said quietly, I disobeyed my people. I was curious about other life. I wanted to see... ... If the stories about humans were true... And? Tom asked with a slight smile. I thought humans were selfish, loud, and foolish, she said. Tom laughed. Not wrong, but not all of you, she added after a pause. Tom turned slightly. You're not like the stories either. Valari didn't reply, but he saw a faint smile on her face before she closed her eyes. In the cold darkness of a frozen moon, two strangers lay, back to back, alien and human, enemies by culture, survivors by fate. For now, the ice outside didn't matter. The morning light on Shira 9 was pale and silver, just like its snow-covered land. Cold winds still moved through the valley, whispering across the ice. Inside the broken human shuttle, warmth was low, but not gone. Tom opened his eyes slowly. Could feel a bit of weight against his back. Valari had not moved much during the night, and neither had he. Their shared body heat had helped more than he expected. Valari stirred. She sat up slowly and looked around, her sharp golden eyes scanning the room. We survived the night, she said calmly. Tom yawned. Yeah, thanks to one bed, Valari frowned. Do not speak of it again, Tom chuckled. All right. He stood up and walked over to the control panel. The beacon light was blinking, read it was still broken. He would have to fix it before anyone could rescue them. He grabbed his tools and looked at Valari. I need to repair the signal device, he said. If I can get it to work, a human ship might come in 2 or 3 days. Valari nodded. Jari ships might arrive sooner. My craft sent an auto signal when it crashed. Tom stopped. Is that good or bad? Bad, Valari replied. I am no longer accepted by my people. They will see me with you... ... and attack. Tom frowned. Then we better fix this fast. Valari moved to the corner and began checking her own gear. Though injured, her mind was sharp. She found a small power cell in her belt and brought it over. This may help your beacon, she said. Tom looked at her in surprise. Thanks. I only do this so we both live, she replied quickly. They began working side by side. Tom repaired wires and cleaned the damaged signal disk. Valari helped him understand the flow of energy, using Jari knowledge. Together, they made progress. Time passed. Outside, snow started falling again. Later that day, Tom boiled some water and made a warm drink using powder from his survival kit. It didn't taste great, but it was hot. He offered a cup to Valari. She took it and sipped carefully. Strange flavor. It's supposed to taste like berries, Tom said. It mostly tastes like socks. Valari raised one eyebrow. Drink socks? Tom laughed, shaking his head. Valari looked confused, then slowly smiled, a rare and strange sight on her serious face. That night, the cold returned stronger. The heater flickered and gave a warning light. We may not have heat. Tomorrow, Tom said. Valari nodded. Then we must share the bed again. Tom tried to act calm, right? For survival. Valari lay on the narrow bed first and Tom joined. It was awkward, but less so than the night before. Their backs touched again, and slowly the warmth spread in. The silence, Tom spoke. You said your people cast you out. Yes, Valari said softly. Why? I asked too many questions, she replied. Jari are taught not to trust outsiders. But I saw messages, signals, stories from other worlds. I wanted to know more. My commander said I was weak, curious, dangerous. Tom turned slightly. That doesn't sound dangerous to me. Valari's voice became quiet. To them, thinking differently is a threat, Tom understood. People on Earth are like that too sometimes. Valari looked at him in the dark. And you? Are you different? Tom shrugged. Maybe. I'm not a hero. Just a guy who fixes things. She didn't reply for a while. Then she whispered, You helped me. Even when I told you not to. That is... ... strange, but not bad. Tom smiled faintly. Thanks, I think. The wind howled outside, but inside the shuttle, the two survivors slept close, the ice between them, melting just a little more. The next morning, Valari woke early. She checked the beacon, still no signal. She stepped outside, wrapping herself in the thick coat Tom gave her. The sky was heavy with gray clouds. In the far distance, she saw a dark shape in the sky, something moving slowly. A ship? Maybe Jari? She returned inside. Tom was already up, checking circuits. There may be a ship nearby, Valari said. Tom looked up. Hours unlikely. It moved like Jari design. Tom's face became serious. And we don't have much time? Valari nodded. If they land, they will scan for life. If they find both of us alive, they will not be kind. Tom sighed. Then we better hide, or fight. Valari looked at him. You would fight your own death. For me? Tom looked back at her. You're not just an alien to me now. You're my friend. I don't leave friends behind. Valari stared at him for a moment, then slowly said, I was wrong about humans. Tom smiled. Most people are wrong about me too. They spent the day reinforcing the shuttle walls and building a small signal amplifier. Valari used a crystal from her own tech to boost the human signal. It might help if they had enough time outside. The shape in the sky grew clearer. A Jari hunter ship was coming. That evening, Tom and Valari sat close together. The heater had failed fully. The cold bit at their skin. The bed was their only shelter. Valari looked at him, her voice low. If this is the end, I am glad it is with someone like you. Tom didn't know what to say. He simply nodded and placed a blanket over them both. We're not done yet, he whispered. The snow outside grew heavier. Sky turned black. But inside the broken shuttle, two hearts beat close, and hope, though small, still lived. The cold wind of Shiranine never stopped. It moved through the frozen hills like a ghost. Ice cracked quietly under the weight of falling snow. But inside the broken human shuttle, something had changed. Valari and Tom sat close, working together. In silence, the heater was dead, but the beacon had begun to glow a steady green. It wasn't a strong signal, but it was something. There, Tom said, wiping sweat from his forehead. It's working. Might take a day or two, but someone could hear it. Valari looked at the beacon, her golden eyes steady. Let us hope your people are faster than mine. Tom nodded. I really hope they are. Their days had fallen into a routine. In the mornings, Tom would check the beacon and the outside conditions. Valari would search for useful parts around the area. In the evenings, they talked while sitting near the bed, wrapped in shared blankets, watching the snow fall through the small window. It was strange how normal it began to feel. One evening, after finishing repairs on the broken heater still not working, Tom sat down with two steaming cups of warm drink. It still tasted bad, but it was better than freezing. He handed one cup to Valari. She took it without a word. Today was quiet, Tom said. No ships, no trouble, just snow. Valari nodded. Sometimes silence is the beginning of something. Tom tilted his head. That's very Jari sounding. She gave a small smile. It is one of our old sayings. My grandmother used to say it before something big happened. Tom leaned back. I wish the big something was a rescue team. Valari sipped the drink, then looked at him thoughtfully. You never asked why I came to this moon? Tom blinked. I guess I figured it wasn't my business. She stared at the floor for a moment, then spoke quietly. I was sent here on a private mission. A test, they called it. To prove I was loyal. But they knew I wasn't. I was only curious about other species, other lives. Tom listened carefully, his expression calm. I found an old signal from your people, Valari continued. A song, ... a simple song from Earth. I thought it was beautiful. I asked questions about it. They didn't like that. Tom leaned forward. What song was it? Valari frowned, thinking hard. Then she softly hummed a tune, slow and simple. It was old, one of Earth's first space broadcasts, melody sent to the stars. Tom smiled. That was Skylight. It's from a time when people dreamed big. Valari nodded. It made me feel something, I think. I wanted to dream too. There was silence between them for a while. You were punished for dreaming, Tom said. Yes. That's not fair. Valari gave a soft sigh. In Jari culture, feelings are hidden. Logic is strength. Curiosity is weakness. I became weak. Tom looked at her seriously. You're not weak. You're brave. You chose to follow your heart. Valari looked away, but there was warmth in her face. Later that night, the cold grew worse again. The small fire Tom had built using old cables flickered out. The bed was the only place with any warmth left. Valari lay down first. Tom joined, pulling the blanket over both of them. As they lay back to back, Tom spoke quietly. Do Jari share warmth like this often? No, Valari answered. It is rare. Only close ones do this. Warriors on long missions. Family. Bonded ones. Tom went silent. Oh. Valari looked over her shoulder. Why? Does it make you uncomfortable? Tom turned slightly. I know. It just ... It's kind of nice, actually. She gave a small laugh. It was the first real laugh he had heard from her. It was soft, but full of something new. Humans are strange. She said, You're not the first to say that, Tom replied. The next morning, something changed. Tom stepped outside to check the snow depth and stopped. Footprints. Not his. Not. Valeris, they were deep and wide-sole soldier boots. He ran back inside. We have company. Valeris's eyes narrowed. How many? Tom held up 2 fingers. Maybe more. I didn't wait to count. Valari stood. Then they have landed. They will search. If they find us together. ... They will act. Tom grabbed his tool belt. We need to hide the beacon. They'll destroy it. Valari moved fast, hiding it under the floor. They took down human gear, pushed blankets into corners, and wiped their tracks. But it was too late. A deep voice came from outside. Jari. Scout Valari. This is Commander Drell. Come out now. You are found. Valari froze. Tom looked at her. What do we do? Valari's face became calm, serious. They won't kill me immediately. They will question first. You, however, ... I'm not letting you face them alone, Tom said. She looked into his eyes. You are foolish, but ... brave. Tom smiled. That's kind of my thing. Valari picked up a metal rod from the corner. Then we fight. The wind blew harder outside as the shadow of the Jari soldiers moved closer to the broken shuttle inside. A human and a Jari stood side by side, cold, tired, but not afraid. For the first time in both their lives, they were not just strangers from 2 worlds, they were partners, and the ice between them was no longer cold. The air outside was sharp and still. Snowflakes had stopped falling. The white land of Shira 9 was silent, except for the heavy steps of armored Jari soldiers. Inside the broken shuttle, Tom and Valari crouched low. The lights were off. Sound felt louder in the quiet. They will search carefully, Valari whispered. Soldiers are trained to track heat, sound, and movement. Tom peeked through the small window. 2 tall figures stood outside. Their armor glowed blue. Helmets covered their faces. They held plasma staffs in hand. They look serious, Tom muttered. Valari nodded. They are. Commander Drell leads them. He was once my mentor. Tom's eyes widened, and now she looked away. Now, ... He is my judge. Tom reached for his tool belt. He had no real weapons, just a wrench, a small electric cutter, and a flare gun. Not much, he said, but I'll make it count. Valari placed a hand on his arm. You do not need to fight. I brought this on myself. Tom looked at her firmly. And I'm not letting you face it alone. Her eyes softened. Then we stand together. A loud voice echoed outside. Valari of the Jari. Come out. You have one chance. Valari stood slowly, took a deep breath, and stepped outside. Tom followed snow, crunched under their boots. The soldiers turned their heads toward them. Commander Drell stepped forward. His armor was thicker, his voice louder. Valari, you have broken Jari law. You touched alien technology. You shared space with a human. I survived, Valari replied. He saved me. That is not our way, Drell said coldly. Tom stepped beside her. She saved me too. We worked together. Isn't that worth something? Drell's eyes glowed faintly behind his helmet. You are human. You speak of honor, but your kind are full of tricks. Tom raised his hands. I'm not a soldier. I'm just a mechanic. But I know what's right. She doesn't deserve to be punished for surviving. Drell turned to Valari. Will you return with us? Face judgment? Valari's hands tightened into fists. If I return, it will not be for justice. It will be for silence. I am not afraid of truth. There was a long pause. The wind blew gently. Then Drell gave a short nod to his soldiers. Capture them. Tom barely had time to react. One soldier rushed forward. Valari moved quickly, spinning low and kicking the soldier's leg. He fell back. Another soldier came for Tom. Tom swung his. Wrench hard. Sparks flew as metal hit armor. The soldier staggered. Valari grabbed a metal rod from the ground and blocked a plasma staff with it. The force shook her arms, but she held on. Tom pulled out his flare gun and fired at the ground near the soldiers. Bright red light exploded in their eyes. The soldiers backed off for a moment. Inside, now Valari shouted. They ran back into the shuttle. Tom slammed the door shut. Valari locked it with her device. They'll break in, Tom said, panting. Then, we fight smarter, Valari replied. She ran to the storage unit and opened a panel. This is the shuttle's power cell. If we remove it and overload it, we can cause a small energy burst. Tom looked at her. You mean ... blow it up? Not fully, just enough to blind their scanners and break their armor links. But we must do it right. They worked fast. Tom rewired the battery. Valari set the overload timer. Outside, they heard loud banging. The soldiers were trying to break the door. 10 seconds, Valari whispered. Tom grabbed the beacon from under the floor and stuffed it into his coat. Ready? He said. V-L-A-L-A. Deep hum began to grow inside the walls. Go, she shouted. They ran out the back door just as the front burst open. A bright blue wave of energy exploded through the shuttle. The soldiers fell to the ground, their armor flickering. Their weapons sparked. Valari and Tom ran toward the mountains, feet slipping on the ice. The cold wind hit their faces, but they didn't stop. Behind them, Drell shouted something, but they were already out of sight. After an hour of running and climbing, it stopped near a small cave hidden between two icy rocks. Tom dropped to the ground, breathing hard. We made it. Valari knelt beside him, holding her side. We slowed them, but they will come again. Tom looked at her. Then we keep moving, or ... We wait for my people. Valari looked at the beacon in his coat. The green light was blinking faster now. Someone is coming, she said. Tom nodded. Let's hope it's not more of your people. Shh. Gave a small smile. I hope it's yours. I've had enough Shari orders for one life. They crawled deeper into the cave. It was narrow, but warmer. Tom set up a small light. Valari wrapped a blanket around her shoulders. Tom sat beside her. You okay? I'm tired, she said, but I'm not afraid anymore. Tom smiled. Good, because I think you're pretty amazing. Valari raised an eyebrow. You still say strange things? He shrugged. That's the human way. She leaned back against the wall, eyes half closed. Perhaps I like it. Outside the cave, the sky began to change. A silver light appeared in the distance, moving closer. Hope was coming. The cave was quiet, except for the sound of breathing. Tom sat beside Valari, watching the blinking green light of the beacon. It was stronger now. That meant help was near, maybe just hours away. Outside, the wind picked up again. Snow blew across the frozen land. The shadows of the mountains grew darker. Tom leaned against the stone wall and said, "You think Drell gave up?" Valari shook her head. "Jari never give up. He will return." Tom sighed. "Didn't think so." She looked at him. "If he finds us again, there will be no warning. He will strike." Tom stood and stretched his arms. "Then we need to be ready. Let's set traps." Valerie raised one eyebrow. "You're not a warrior." "No," Tom said with a grin. I've fixed a lot of machines. I know how to make things break." They worked together for the next hour. Valerie showed Tom how to arm a small plasma mine from her crashed ship. He added parts from his toolkit: wires, energy cells, motion sensors. They placed one trap near the cave entrance. Another was hidden under a pile of snow nearby. The third was placed near the frozen rocks, where footprints would surely pass. Inside the cave, they stacked stones and metal to block the front. They left a narrow space to peek through. "We'll hear them before they reach us," Valari said. "Unless they fly," Tom replied. She paused. "Let's hope they don't." As they sat again near the small light, Tom handed Valari a snack bar from his emergency pack. She took it without a word and chewed slowly. Tom broke the silence. "You ever thought about leaving the Jari forever?" Valari stared into the light. "Yes, many times. Why didn't you?" "Had nowhere to go," she said, "until now." Tom blinked. "You mean?" Valari looked at him. "You said I'm your friend? Would Earth accept someone like me?" Tom nodded. "If they knew who you really were." "Yes." Valari gave a small smile. "Then maybe I will go, if we survive." They didn't sleep much. The cold returned just after midnight, and they shared a blanket, sitting close. Valari rested, her head lightly on Tom's shoulder. Just before dawn, sound came: soft, deep humming in the distance. Valera's eyes opened. A Jari ship. Tom looked out through the crack in the wall. Shadow passed across the snow. Lights glowed blue in the dark. It was the hunter ship. "They're here," he whispered. Valari stood, picking up her metal rod. "Let them come." Ship landed near the old shuttle wreck. 3 soldiers jumped out. Commander Drell followed. "They're heading this way," Tom said. The traps were set. The path was narrow. All they could do now was wait. The first soldier stepped on the hidden snow trap. There was a sharp boom and explosion of light and ice. The soldier flew backward. His armor cracked. The second soldier jumped forward but triggered the motion sensor. A plasma shock burst from behind the rocks, hitting his shoulder. He dropped his weapon. Drell didn't stop. He moved forward with calm steps. His armor was thicker, stronger. He reached the cave. Valari stood in front of the wall. "No further." Drell raised his hand. "You have one last chance, Valari. Come home. Leave the human." Tom stepped beside her. "Not happening." Drell's voice turned cold. "Then you choose death." He stepped forward and triggered the last trap. A blast of heat and light hit him straight in the chest. His armor sparked. He fell back, growling in pain. But he stood again. "He's still coming," Tom shouted. Valari ran forward, swinging her rod. Drell blocked it with his staff. Sparks flew as metal met energy. Tom grabbed his cutter and ran to help. He hit Drell's side with the tool. The armor sparked. Leia stumbled. Larea took the chance. She struck his helmet with full force. It cracked. Drell dropped to one knee, breathing heavily. "Why do you fight us?" he shouted. "We are your people." Valari stood tall. "You were my people, but not anymore." She looked at Tom. "He is my people now." Tom blinked. "Wow, that's a first." Drell groaned and fell forward, unconscious. The battle was over. Valari helped Tom back into the cave. His arm was burned, but not badly. "We did it," he said. She nodded. Together. Just then, the beacon made a loud beeping sound.
Out the green.
Light turned blue. Tom's face lit up. "That's the rescue code. Human ship is near." Valari helped him outside. In the sky above, a silver shape came through the clouds. It was a human rescue frigate, large, powerful, and fast. It landed, slowly blowing snow in every direction. The ramp opened. 4 humans in white suits came out. One shouted, "Tom, you alive?" Tom waved, barely. They ran to him, helping him up. Then they saw Valari. They raised their weapons. "She's Jari." One said. Tom stepped in front of her. "She's with me. She saved my life. She's under my protection." The team looked at each other. Then the lead rescuer nodded. "All right, both of you, come aboard." Valari looked at Tom, surprised. "You stood for me?" she whispered. Tom smiled. "That's what friends do." They walked together into the ship. The cold wind of Shiranine blew behind them, but inside the ship, it was warm. Bright lights, soft. Seats and clean air welcomed them. Valari sat down, her eyes full of emotion. Tom handed her a real blanket this time. "Much better than one bed on ice, right?" She nodded. "But I will remember that bed, always." They smiled at each other, too. Souls from 2 worlds. Now one mission. The hum of the human rescue ship filled the air. Inside the brightly lit medbay, Valari lay on a soft bed wrapped in warm blankets. For the first time in many days, she felt safe. The strange, cold moon was far behind them. Tom sat beside her, his arm in a sling, but his eyes bright with relief. "You're going to be fine," Tom said softly. "The medics say you'll heal quickly." Valari nodded, still quiet. She stared out the window, watching the stars race past. After a moment, she spoke. "I do not understand your people. You welcomed me." Tom smiled. "We try. Not everyone agrees, but most people think everyone deserves a chance." Valari looked surprised. "Where I come from, I would be arrested. Or worse." Tom frowned. "Jari don't like outsiders." She shook her head. "Not like this. They fear what they do not know. They think humans are dangerous." Tom leaned back. "Maybe some humans are. But most want to learn, help, and share." Valari looked at him thoughtfully. "You... prove that." Tom grinned. "Hey, I'm pretty good at proving things." The rescue ship soon reached Earth Space Command, a massive station orbiting the planet. Tom was greeted as a hero for surviving the crash and protecting Valari, but Valari's arrival caused a stir. Leaders from different human factions gathered to decide her fate. Some wanted to study her, others were suspicious. But Tom spoke for her. "She saved my life," he said firmly. "She deserves protection, not punishment." The commanders listened, then agreed to grant Valari asylum. She would stay on Earth for now, with Tom as her guide. Valari's first days on Earth were strange. The air was thicker, the gravity stronger. People walked faster and talked louder. Tom showed her simple things. How to use a human cum device. How to drink coffee, which she did not enjoy. And how to wear shoes without complaining. She grumbled, but smiled. "I do not understand your fashion," she said. "Why cover feet?" Tom laughed. "You get used to it?" One evening, Tom and Valari walked through a quiet park near the space station. The sky was clear, stars bright above. "You know," Tom said. "When I first met you, I thought you were impossible to get along with." Valari raised an eyebrow. "I thought you were foolish." Tom grinned. "Still might be." Valari laughed softly. "Maybe that is why we get along." They stopped by a small pond, watching fish swim beneath the water's surface. "Do you miss your home?" Tom asked. Valari nodded. "Yes, but I do not belong there anymore." Tom looked at her. "Maybe you belong here now?" She smiled, but her eyes held a quiet sadness. Days later, Valari was invited to join a special human expedition team. Her knowledge of Jari technology and culture made her valuable. Tom was assigned to the same team. "We make a good team," Valari said. Tom nodded. "I think so too." They trained together, learned new skills, prepared for missions to other worlds. But not everyone was happy. News from Jari homeworld arrived. They called Valari a traitor and demanded her return. Some factions warned Earth to send her back, or face consequences. Tom and Valari attended a meeting with Earth's leaders. Valari spoke openly. "I am no traitor," she said. "I seek peace. I seek friendship." Her words moved many. A new hope for cooperation between humans and Jari was born. At night, back in their shared quarters, Valari and Tom sat quietly. 2 beds stood side by side. But the room was cold without a shared blanket. Valari looked at Tom and said, "It is still cold." Tom smiled and pulled the blanket over both of them. "One bed again," he said softly. She nodded, resting her head near his shoulder. The galaxy outside was vast and full of dangers. But inside that small room, warmth grew stronger too. Souls, once strangers, now partners in a greater journey. The stars outside the space station shimmered softly. Inside, Tom and Valari prepared for a new mission. Journey to a distant world where humans and Jari might meet for the first time in peace. The past months had changed everything. Valari was no longer an outcast. She was a bridge between 2 species, and Tom was her closest friend and ally. The command room buzzed with energy as leaders and scientists planned the mission. "Your knowledge will be important," a human captain told Valari. "We trust you." Valari nodded. "I will do my best." Tom smiled at her. "We make a good team." The shuttle took off smoothly, cutting through the blackness of space. Valari watched the stars streak by, feeling a mix of hope and nerves. Tom sat beside her, checking their equipment. "Ready?" he asked. She smiled. "Ready as I'll ever be." The new planet came into view, a blue-green world with swirling clouds and shining seas as they entered the atmosphere. Their ship shook, but the pilots kept steady. They landed in a wide valley, filled with strange plants and soft light. Exploring the planet, the team found signs of both human and Jari activity, a hopeful sign. Valari touched the strange flowers gently. "This place feels... peaceful." Tom looked at the horizon. "Maybe this is where our 2 peoples can start fresh." Suddenly, a group of figures appeared. Both human and Jari soldiers stepped forward, eyes wary. Valari stepped ahead. "Come in peace." A Jari leader nodded slowly. "Valari, we heard your message. We wish to talk." Tom looked at Valari, proud. The talks began, difficult but hopeful. Both sides shared stories, fears, and dreams. That night, Valari and Tom sat. Outside under the stars, Valari looked up. "I never thought I would see this day." Tom smiled. "Neither did I." She turned to him. "Thank you for everything." Tom shrugged. "You taught me more than I taught you." They sat close, the night air cool but not cold. Valari said softly, "Do you remember that night on the frozen moon?" Tom laughed. "How could I forget?" "We shared one bed," she said with a smile. "Yeah, we did." The mission was a success. The humans and Jari agreed to work together, opening a new chapter in their histories. Back on the space station, Valari and Tom were honored for their courage and friendship. At a ceremony, Valari spoke to the crowd. "We were once strangers from different worlds. But together, we found warmth and hope. Let this be a lesson for all." The audience cheered. Later, as they walked through the station's gardens, Tom took Valari's hand. "Where will you go now?" She squeezed his hand gently. "With you, wherever the stars take us." Tom smiled. "I like the sound of that." They looked up at the night sky, full of endless possibilities. 2 friends, united by courage, ready to face the future. The cold had passed. A new dawn had begun.